Hey guys, it is Stove. Finally back after a very long hiatus. Just been very ill, very sick for the last week. It hasn't been very good for me or some people in my house. That being said, I was also just mainly taking care of work stuff and making sure my family's been okay. Obviously, repping the Ohio State for their good win. Obviously, it looked very rocky against Rutgers at first, but they were able to pull away with a very solid win against them. So happy about that. But obviously, let's get into the pro stuff. And this is week 12 of the NFL. It's insane that we're already over halfway through the NFL now. It actually kind of feels so damn unfortunate because there are so many things riding on the beginning of this season, and now since the way everything is going, a lot of people are like, man, like this could be a crazy playoffs for quite a few different teams that no one really expected to do what they're doing. And we can get into that while we talk about some of these games. And obviously, I do believe I have about 3 hours at most to hopefully get this video up. I'll probably end up getting this video up right after the games start, but Houston was able to play pretty well. Their defense spot on. Couldn't have played any better. They did a very good job blitzing, pressuring Josh Allen, and at the same time playing a very good QB spy, having their linebacker there, keeping two more linebackers as coverage, and they also having 4 lined up defensive linemen right there. And also, Bills' offense could not cover anything. It was terrible. Even though there was some injuries going back and forth with all the offensive linemen, there were to have seemed like these defensive linemen for the Houston Texans just absolutely playing like monsters out there. Being able to run as fast as all of them can too. Like a lot of these guys are huge, like muscle huge, but at the same time they're also running incredibly fast, and they just played a fantastic game. Was able to get to Josh Allen when they needed to, sacked him 8 times, got a fumble recovery, and only allowed 19 points against them. So and Houston's offense was able to also do what they needed to do in the second half, the second quarter, as long as their defense was able to keep the Bills from scoring their points, which they did. The first half, it was a little different. Josh Allen was able to get a touch. Well, I should say Cook was able to get points, but they missed the PAT, and at the same time, the only other touchdown they got was from their own defense for the Bills. So it just wasn't working out for anybody. Josh Allen also being pressured the way he was, throwing 2 interceptions, didn't exactly look very good out there. And because he was getting pressured, because he was throwing interceptions, he probably just had the worst game of the entire season, I believe, or at least second worst, because he might have had under 200 passing yards this season as well. But going 24 for 34 can still win you games as long as you're actually scoring touchdowns. But they were 0 for 2 being in the red zone and trying to score in the end zone. They were 0 for 2, where Houston was 2 for 4. So better being 50% than 0%, that's for sure. even though they had double the chances. And Bills had like 5 more minutes of ball control. But anyway, going into today, obviously I am repping Bengals, and regardless of what people are saying, with the Patriots more than likely dominating the Cincinnati Bengals this week, I will have to say I am not going to give up hope. I am still just going to say if we could at least get this upsetted win at home against New England, could possibly shift something in our defense or in our morale as a team, because right now, unless we go in there with crappy attitudes and we get blown out again and lose like 42-13, like we have been with against other teams, we're more than likely not going to be able to like really do anything the rest of this season, at least anything important, and we would just end up going into the off season acting like we all hate each other. But I do see some promise. I think if our defense just comes together a little bit more and we can focus on the good and only the good, and we hopefully try to put some form of pressure on Drake May, we might just have a chance. Same with Joe Flacco. As long as Joe Flacco keeps his head on a swivel and we can get that backfield going however way we need to, then we'll be able to have a closer game than just 42-13. I think we can win by a field goal at most. Maybe even by like an overtime touchdown if we somehow do that. But Patriots are they're 6.5 the favorite. I'm sure they have like a 65% plus chance of winning this game, even though they are the away team, but they are undefeated as away teams so far. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I think the Bengals are going to win. Really don't care if I'm wrong or not, but if I'm right, then hallelujah. Steelers versus Bears, I think this is going to be a lot more competitive. As long as the Steelers offense comes to play and we see that TJ Watt led defense absolutely pressure the hell out of Caleb Williams, and then we'll actually see a closer game. Now both teams, I think, will probably I think the Bears are more consistently better offensively, and maybe you could even argue that they're better defensively too. But what I would have to say is that the only way this goes is if both teams are going back and forth. I think both teams are not going to have a complete consistent game. They're going to, both of them are going to show struggles, whether it be passing the ball or rushing the ball. I think both of these teams are going to have to go for either passing the ball more or running the ball more, and I don't think it's going to be both. Just because both defenses are very, very good at doing one, the pass defense or the rushing defense, but they can't really do either one, it feels like. But regardless, I will pick the Steelers in this case. Going to Chicago, they've actually done pretty well when facing Chicago Bears at Chicago. But obviously this is this year. So with Chicago playing the way they are needing to play, and the Steelers kind of being very offset on what they're trying to do, plus I didn't really look at it, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing today. I could be wrong on that, but if it is Will Howard, then it would be the new fresh quarterback, rookie quarterback as well, being able to face a not dominant defense, but definitely a pressure defense that he's just gonna have, that Will Howard's just gonna have to deal with. And if he's able to deal with that, then it's a good welcome to the NFL moment for Will Howard if he is going to be the one playing. But I think the Steelers also have it in their heads that they need to win this game, because if the Ravens win and they lose, then they're not behind, but they're tied with the Ravens pretty much. So they want to win this game in Chicago, and they also want to get back on the horse of trying to win these games consistently. And winning against the 7-3 Chicago team is exactly how they're going to try and do it. I think it's going to be more than 45 points total for the game, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, my money's on the Steelers if I were betting. Lions, they're just going to absolutely crush the Giants. I think the Giants are going to show some promise, but they're not going to do anything that's going to surprise the Lions, in my opinion, unless, weirdly enough, they have like the best passing game going on for them, or defensively they stop the Lions like 4 or 5 straight drives to then put the Lions in the corner, and the Giants would be up by like 6 points or some crap like that, because I don't think the Giants are scoring too many touchdowns. They'd probably get some field goals though. So if you guys have like a Giants kicker, then you guys should definitely probably, like, you guys would be very lucky there. Vikings versus Packers. So yeah, I had the Lions winning that game. Vikings versus Packers. I do have the Vikings winning against the Packers, because obviously you don't have Josh Jacobs, and you more than likely won't have that second string running back who's going to be starting this week, but I don't think he's going to be getting a lot of those reps. I think the third string running back, you'll probably see a bit more of him too. I just can't remember his name, but they're also just going to be focusing on more of a passing game. So the Vikings are going to prepare themselves for more of a pass coverage like defense against the Green Bay Packers. And I think if a bunch of other teams can make it a very close game and cause the Packers to not really score too much in that first half, but score way too much in that second half, I think the Vikings will be able to come up with some ways on offense and defense to be able to win against the Packers. They did it exactly like how they did it against the Lions. Granted, is that a fluke? Who knows? But if they're able to do that against the Packers, then it's got to be something with the Vikings head coaching or the players just against divisional rivals. The Vikings have been able to find their ways and find advantages and be able to play on those advantages and get better at the disadvantages that they've had against other teams. So I think the Vikings are just going to end up finding some sort of way to beat the Packers, unless Jordan Love comes out and has the best passing game that he's had all season, or maybe close to it, which in that case, then it can definitely be a very close game. I just don't see that happening. I see them actually losing against the Vikings at home. Seahawks versus Tennessee Titans. Well, if Tennessee somehow comes out of nowhere and upsets the Seahawks with like a 33 game, I could see it, kind of, because I've seen stranger things. But I think the Seahawks are going to be able to put Tennessee at their 10th loss and still keep them completely defeated at home, giving them a loss at home. The Seahawks are going to go 8-3. That game is really not much to talk about there. Colts versus Chiefs, that's going to be a pretty defensively and offensively. Some better I'm pretty sure majority of their losses were obvious from the possession games. However, I'm pretty sure 5 of those losses were against away. End up the same by possession. They end up winning by more than points. And Jonathan Taylor's getting kind of contained. Possible, but it is somewhat cheap. Taylor and pressure the hell out of Dalen Jones, and points. Well, say under if they're just more. I think if under 45 points, the Chiefs are going to end up winning. Now, granted, that could be completely wrong, and the Chiefs making high scoring, getting this game into a high scoring game, like in the 50s, then they end up winning. Then okay, but I just think the Chiefs defense is going to be the main thing that we're wanting to look at, because I think the Chiefs offense has struggled a little bit just because of their run defense. Their run offense. And at the same time, you've also seen some things like, why did this go on instead of this? Or like this play was made, even though this play was made like 3 times this drive and it hadn't worked then. But there are definitely some things that I would agree with, but the Chiefs being 3.5 at home against an 8-2 Colts team that looks nearly unstoppable is definitely something to not gloss over. And I think you guys should definitely look at the Chiefs as winning by 3 or more points this today. Ravens and Jets. I think the Jets with Justin Fields is pretty much a worse version of the Ravens. Not saying that the Jets don't have any talented players. To be fair, if you make the argument, they probably got rid of their last few great players, at least on defense. But Ravens, I think, are just going to end up winning this game unless the Jets somehow, some way make the Baltimore Ravens look like garbage. And if the Jets are able to score on their defense, which like other teams I think is not impossible to do, since passing wise the Ravens haven't done at all a good job at defending that, and it says 13.5, but let's be honest here, unless the Ravens defense does anything, it's gonna definitely be under that. I think it'll be a lot closer than that, and to me there's really no arguing it besides saying, well, if that defense actually does something, then you guys can definitely say, oh, it'll be over 13.5 because the Ravens are the Ravens. But at the same time, you got these sports books, you got the ESPNs, and you got all these people saying, well, the Ravens are back. And once the Ravens show that they're back, by the time that they were 3-5, they were already giving the Ravens these huge spreads, which doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. I get it, the Ravens are super talented, have huge names, but they've still been not looking too good. So I think it would definitely be under the spread that they're giving. If it doesn't happen and it ends up becoming even more, then sure, I'm the liar. But I'm just saying the Ravens are a great team, but they still struggle just like every other team that I've watched, and I think that you guys have also watched. Browns versus Raiders. This is going to be an interesting one, but I'm going to have the Browns actually taking this one by like a close margin. It does say the Las Vegas Raiders have a 4-point spread there, 4-point favorite. But I do think the Browns just have a better defense all around, and it'll end up being a closer game by field goals. If you have the Browns and the Raiders kickers, keep them on your starting lineup. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a kick. It's gonna be a field goal bonanza, and I'm sure you'll either see Ashton Genty or Quentin Junkins getting some rushing performances for sure. Now, do I think that Shedeur Sanders may get a rushing touchdown? Do I think Brock Bowers will get a receiving touchdown? Sure. But I think it'll be field goal mayhem, and it'll end up like going like the Browns will probably win like 19-16 or something like that. Maybe 22-21. Jags versus Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to end up winning against the Jaguars. That's just me. I just think the Cardinals are going to surprise some people and be able to beat the Jaguars. Unless the Jaguars defense and offense plays out of this world, I just think that the Cardinals can do so much more better than what they have done, and beating the so-called playoff contending Jaguars, even though in my opinion I still think that they're one of the fakest playoff contenders. Granted, they've shown pretty good things when they've won, but they've also shown a lot worse things when they've lost. And I think if the Cardinals defense shows up, especially at home, even though they're 1-4 at home, I still think the Cardinals start getting their wins whenever they beat the Jaguars, and then we'll see what happens. But I think the Cardinals offense has just been has unlocked something ever since Jacob Brissett. I think they have unlocked something with him, even though he's an older guy. They're not going to have him on there for long, but I do generally think this is going to be one of the biggest upsets that you're going to see. Even though, Jaguars are the Jaguars, it says they're favorited by 3 points, but the Cardinals, I think, are just going to win at home. And if they can win at home, then I wouldn't be surprised if McBride, if Harrison, if he's healthy, if the Cardinals' run game becomes very efficient and Trevor Lawrence starts throwing weird passes and he starts getting... I think Trevor Lawrence gets intercepted twice. Now, will he still throw 2 or 3 passing touchdowns? Probably. But I just think the Cardinals are going to make it a lot tougher, and I think they're just going to end up with a win this week. Eagles and Cowboys. Same thing with the Cowboys. I don't know why. I have this feeling that there's going to be a lot of upsets going on, even though the Philadelphia Eagles are favored at 3.5, being at Dallas's home. But I will have to say, Cowboys have looked very good offensively. The only thing is still showing that, this defense is now facing, the Cowboys defense is now facing the offense of the Eagles. And whenever, the Cowboys should have probably won that last game against the Eagles. I'm pretty sure it was 20-16, if I'm not mistaken. So there is still a chance that you guys get, or maybe it was even more than that, but the Cowboys was able to make it a closer game than usual. I think Cowboys at home, especially winning against the Raiders, it was at Las Vegas, so I'm pretty sure it was. But winning at Las Vegas was a pretty good turnaround. And that offense, I think, is just so explosive. And the defense really, that the way that they were able to play builds their morale up to 10. And it's great because you have them facing a division rival where if they win this game, they're kind of back into the playoff hunt a little bit. Especially with that tie that can, squeak them into a playoff run. But I think it's still going to be tough, no matter what. However, I just think the Cowboys are going to end up winning by 3 or less points. Maybe 3 or more points. But I just have this strange feeling, just the way that the Cowboys were able to play and how inefficient. I just think it just hasn't been too well with the Eagles, and the Eagles have just gotten very good at winning these close games, which is cool, and they'll probably end up winning this Cowboys game. I just really have a feeling that as long as Dak Prescott doesn't screw it up for himself, Cowboys are going to end up being 5-1, and the Eagles are going to drop to 8-3, and everyone's going to be like, are the Eagles really the Eagles anymore? And pushing that freaking narrative, unless they won't push that narrative, but they'll push are the Cowboys huge turnaround, winning against Las Vegas and now winning against Philadelphia? Maybe, but I don't think we should be pushing that narrative just yet until it actually happens, of course. But anyway, you got Falcons versus Saints. Realistically, I think Falcons have a better defense. They also have a more explosive offense, and the Saints are still trying to find themselves in whatever hell that they're in right now. They're 1-1. They're 1-4 at home. They're 1-4 away. I don't think the Falcons are going to lose to this divisional team, even though I think it may still be close, and they're giving the edge 2.5 favorite to the Saints. I still think that the Falcons are going to find a way to do their best and win this game for sure. Buccaneers and Rams, Panthers and 49ers. Both of these games should be great. I think Buccaneers, even though with the amount of injuries that they had starting this past week, they had like 5 or 6 offensive players being injured, and like 3 or 4 of them were starters. I think Bucky Irving is coming back, so that is that's going to be a little bit of a better situation for the Buccaneers, though you still have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans still out. But I think it will be a closer game, but obviously I'm going to have to go Rams. Even though I love Baker Mayfield, I think this could end up turning out to be somewhat good for the Buccaneers if they do end up winning against the Rams. But the Rams also still have the 49ers gnawing at their heels, especially if the 49ers end up getting a win against the Panthers. So realistically, I think Rams are going to pull out all the stops and be able to beat the Buccaneers like 40-something to 30-something. I think it'll be a high-scoring game unless Baker Mayfield is starting to get pressured or somehow gets injured. Then he starts trying to pull out all the stops, but it still just doesn't end up working there. But yeah, Rams are going to be getting 8-2 by the end of Monday night, I believe. Well, not Monday night, Sunday night. Panthers and 49ers, with the Panthers also gnawing at the Buccaneers heels as well. If they win and the Buccaneers lose, then the Panthers are 7-5, and then the Buccaneers are 6-5. So realistically, you have 2 matchups, and it's the number one teams of the NFC South and the NFC West facing each other, and it's the same thing with the number 2s facing each other, just to see where they can be at by the end of this week or by the end of Monday night. So I do think the 49ers are going to end up cleaning up the Panthers. The NFC West is going to be able to clean up this week, especially with the Seahawks also playing pretty well. The Rams kind of need this win to be like, no, you're not going to get to us. But if the Buccaneers win, the Panthers win, then the Seahawks are up there kind of alone, being like, yeah, like we're getting somewhere. But at the same time, they're really not going to be alone, because the Rams are going to be 8-3, and the 49ers are still going to be like 2 or 3 games behind, and still plausible that the 49ers can still win this division. And it's a huge division right now. NFC West, my God, you guys are killing it. But yeah, I still think the 49ers are going to end up winning against the Panthers. Granted, the Panthers have a solid defense. They've also gotten a lot better with getting these younger players like McMillan and Rico to be able to come out and play amazing football for their offense. Bryce Young has even been clicking with these guys quite frequently. However, I just think you have Mac Jones playing for the 49ers coming back, and then you also have Christian McCaffrey playing pretty well this year, very well actually. And at the same time, you have George Kittle, who's back, who played pretty well last week, and I think even pretty good the week before if he wasn't injured by that point. And I think the closer and closer we get to the end of the season, a lot of these players that are injured should be coming back. Same with the 49ers. Their issue was these wide receivers have been injured for a good portion or good majority of the year. So with that, I think you're going to have the 49ers conjure up a good amount of points, with the Panthers trying to do the same thing. But I just think the 49ers also still have basically a better defense as well. Whether that's without Fred Warren, whether that's without Nick Bosa, even though those are some good beast individuals to have on your defense, I just think the 49ers defense has been able to play pretty well, whether they didn't have Fred Warren, whether for a couple of games they didn't have Nick Bosa. I think he's back, or he has been playing with them for a good bit. But 49ers still show struggles, Panthers still show struggles on defense, so it could just be a back and forth game. But I do think this is a great matchup for a Sunday night game and Monday night game. Number 1s facing each other of their divisions, number 2s of their divisions facing each other. It's absolutely perfect and actually worked out pretty well for most viewership. But anyway, I believe that should be all. Hopefully this is the video you guys are watching and I don't have to redo this again. I'd really suck if I had to, but we'll see. Anyway, you guys like the video if you guys liked it. Subscribe just to hopefully see more consistent content, hopefully, especially if this goes well. And comment down below. Let me hear your sides and your narratives or your things. Maybe I didn't say something that I completely forgot, and you guys can help me out with that. But yeah, shoot me a comment anytime. I'm free almost all the time. So just let me know what you guys think. And yeah, you guys have a very nice day. Enjoy some football. Peace.